Hey everyone, welcome to the Australian Formula 1 podcast. We've been away for 2 weeks, but we're back now, baby.
Yes.
And Pep, we find ourselves at the Monaco weekend, mate. But before we get into that, let's just go back a race. Jenson Button for Brawn GP wins another Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Four wins out of the first 5 races. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, mate. My tips are getting a little bit better. I was tipping a Brawn 1-2 and it happened.
Sure did.
I also tipped Carnage at turn 1. It was actually turn 2, but yeah, mate. It was as I expected, and a lot of you guys as well. Jenson did it again, mate.
Sure did.
Yeah, it was a great race, and really the main thing to come out of that race, not only that Webber was third, Max, again on the podium again. Great race by Webber.
Very good thing.
Especially that move at the start, that was awesome.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah.
The big thing, Max, was these team orders with Brawn GP, Barrichello and the stops. You guys know what we're talking about.
Well, team orders or not team orders, that is the question.
What did you think, mate?
From listening to Ross Brawn when he mapped it out in intricate detail, you know, I could sort of see where he was coming from, and Rubens is an honourable man, and as Ross Brawn said, you know, he's South American, so he's got fire in his blood, and I'd be upset if he wasn't disappointed. But look, I don't think there's too much into it. But off we go to Monaco.
Yes, mate. You know, I think a lot of team bosses, team managers will split the strategy, and they were talking about 3 stopping being the quickest, but then Jenson switched to the second to 2 stopping. And you know, I don't know if Ross is backing Jenson or if it's just, you know, trying to, you know, each driver's got their own race, Max, and you know, they could have different strategies due to the traffic and all sorts of things. So I don't think there was anything untoward, mate, at all.
It looked bad at the beginning, I guess, before we knew the facts. It was like, oh man, they've just changed him and they're favouring Button. And then a lot of conspiracy theorists amongst you came out and said, oh, you know, British team favouring the British driver and blah 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 blah, whatever. Look, I think it's like most Formula 1 teams. Whoever's quickest, the team will end up following them, and you know, when it becomes crucial that the team has to follow someone, then you know, it's all out in the open. But you know, at the end of the day, the best way for Rubens to shut his critics up is to start getting ahead of Jenson Button.
Win a race would be good.
All right, enough about that.
All right, Max. Well, besides Barcelona, there's been a lot of banter this week about the Ferrari FOTA FIA situation. A lot of chest puffing out, Max. A lot of chest puffing.
Yeah, better these ones. Yeah. You know, sort of thing. I think we should do a podcast like that from now on, mate, and start talking like this. Yeah, it was a bit of a, you know...
A bit of a standoff, Max.
A bit of a wank fest, if you ask me. It was an ego, sort of, the ego Olympics. You know, I think one of the best things that's come out of this kerfuffle over the last week or so is the fact that the 2-tier system has effectively been scrapped. The big conundrum, as I'm sure we all know about now, is just how much should the budget cap be?
Yeah.
You know, for a lot of teams, you know, Ferrari in particular, sorry, I shouldn't say a lot of teams, but Ferrari in particular, and McLaren I dare say as well, these are guys that pump in, you know, hundreds of millions of pounds each year. And all of a sudden being told, no, the cap's 40 million this year. Well, these guys are going to have to sack heaps of workers, completely change the way they operate. And as a car manufacturer, I wouldn't be overly pleased with the fact that, and I've said this before, I could get beaten by some no-name sports team or whatever the case may be, for whatever reason. Look, I'm sure that, you know, might not happen or won't happen, but I don't know. I think we've just got to come to some sort of compromise to get a budget cap right.
We do.
But to not discourage new teams.
Yeah, exactly. We need a realistic budget cap, but we also need some kind of rules around teams in their first few years or something like that, so that we can get new teams into Formula 1. But let's not make it too easy. All these GP2 teams and other people talking about getting into Formula 1.
I'm hearing you.
You should have, you know, 12 slots or you know, between 10 and 12 slots or whatever. And there is a prestige, so you need to spend, you know, a lot of money. But like any business, Max, if you run it properly, and I remember Ron Davis talking a few years ago about the fact that they raise money to spend money each year, and they try not to take on much debt. And that's like any company, Max. You want to be able to run a business, and if you can't find 10 or 12 entities who can do that with a reasonable cap, same rules, then there's something wrong, mate.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'd like to see another couple of teams come on board next year, but I'd like, as I think we all would, a sensible solution to what the budget cap should be. I mean, maybe they could even look at putting a ceiling in.
Yeah.
Okay, well the ceiling is £80 million. Okay, if you've got £80 million to spend, knock yourselves out. If you only have, £47 million to spend, well, that's what you spend.
Yeah.
But if you have $120 million to spend or $500 million to spend, well, you can't.
Yeah.
You can only spend up to this ceiling limit. But I mean, the other thing as well, and I mean, it's the most glaring argument, is how's this going to be policed?
Mm.
And I'm sure the Boffins will come up with some ingenious way to police it, but for the life of me at the moment, I don't know how you're going to.
Yeah, you're asking private companies to open their books, and that's something that public companies do with an audit, but for a private company to do that, we'll have to see, mate. I think it goes back to the end. I think that having a fairly cheap engine so that you can spend your money basically on a chassis and running the team and driver salaries and things become outside of that marketing. But if you can just build a chassis and put an engine into it like Brawn did, then maybe you can go racing and do it for a reasonable amount of money, but then allow your Ferraris, your Renaults, your McLarens, Williams to technically develop these awesome cars and don't restrict them too much. Imagine telling Adrian Newey, Max, the chassis aren't going to change or something. I mean, the guy, go off and build aircraft or something,
or boats.
Design, yeah.
He likes his boats. He'd probably go off and build some boats.
Yeah.
The thing that concerns me, mate, is, and I know this is a lot of, again, ego and chest pumping at the moment, that what's going on, but a lot of it's not as well. Now, could you imagine Formula One without, the likes of Red Bull, Ferrari, some of the bigger names of Formula One?
Yeah.
Effectively.
Even Renault and Toyota, the manufacturers, they need to be there, mate.
Yeah, and could you imagine a Formula One championship next year without the major manufacturers in it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's. I'm sure a lot of you have very strong opinions on this, and a lot of you would think, "Oh, well, bugger them, let them go. We need fresh blood." That's fine. But the thing for mine as well is that we can still keep the current number of teams on the grid next year, and actually include another 3 more teams under the current regulations. You could still actually do that, and we could have 26 cars on the grid.
Max, there's going to be so much more of this because, we've just had the French court rule in with Ferrari. We've got a deadline of late May for
29th of May
for teams to enrol. So, we're going to have to see a result pretty soon, Max, and it's yet another controversy in Formula One. Yeah. And, it's going to be very interesting either way, mate.
Bernie said he's worried about Ferrari pulling out and the repercussions that will have, and Mosley's actually not expecting many registrations by the 29th of May, so it's going to be fantastically exciting next week as all the brinkmanship comes to the fore, so stay tuned.
Alright guys, leave your comments and we'll be doing more videos very soon.
We will. Alright guys, see you soon.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.